absolute capacity crowd, but not far off it. And they probably make as much noise here as you would get with about 100,000 at the MCG.
I've got to admit, I'm a little bit surprised, John. Both of us driving to the ground took us longer to get into the ground as it normally takes to leave from this stadium.
So the kickoff being taken by the Canberra Raiders. North Queensland get the first touch of it as they bring it out of their own quarter. Let's take you sideline. The man who's right in the middle of that electric atmosphere, Peter Mulholland.
There's not a noise down here, mate. We were talking about last night in Melbourne, but this is just absolutely enormous. We're talking about the benches before. I think that's a very, very important part. But more importantly for North Queensland tonight, it'll be a litmus test, as Tim Sheen's called it early on, without Doonerman and Roberts in the side and with Steve Waters back in the reserve. So a very, very interesting night. For my point, I might lean a little bit towards Canberra.
So North Queensland finishing off their first set of 6 with a little grubbering kick, which will go down to Jeff McNamara. The late change into the Canberra side, McNamara, coming into the wing position late to replace Albert Fullerby, who's been under an injury cloud all week. So the Raiders, every side likes to get away with just their first set of 6 being a good settling set, just to get the nerves out of the body. Probably even better if you can get a penalty early on. Holding down on the tackle, says Stephen Clark. Penalty goes to the Raiders just on their own side of halfway.
It's Johnny Lomax, is it? Yeah.
Well, Lomax, one of the players involved in the holding down. I guess it's just an indication that referee Stephen Clark wants to speed the game up. I think we'll see a lot more of the like that sort of thing, holding down in the game, go unpunished later on.
Interesting to hear that comment too from Steve Clark, just yelling out to Johnny Lomax on the run to cool it down. Lomax, of course, is the captain, and he gave away that first penalty. He's obviously very fired up for this game. Is the Cowboys captain. So it's Canberra. Brad Clyde to play it, 30 metres out from the North Queensland line.
That's 3. Back.
Working again up the short side, and once more Bradley Clyde, his second touch in this set, giving his pass away to Ruben Wiki and then sneaking it back on the inside. And Simon Wilford will play it only a few metres from the line back to David Furner, and then away to McFadden and on to Laurie Daly in the cutout pass. Going wide to Brandon Pearson. He's almost over the line. In fact, was able just at the last moment to sneak it away to Graham Appo, and he'll get it down for a try. Terrific work by Canberra, just catching the North Queensland defence napping.
Yeah, well, they played a very good, swift passing game. Laurie Daly as well, taking the ball, carrying it in 2 hands, creating a little bit of doubt in the mind of the defenders. Simple weight of numbers opening up the opportunity, but a brilliant offload really opened up the chance. I think the North Queensland players now realise how vitally important that penalty they just gave away was. With some real desperation shown. That left-handed offload was simply brilliant. Graham Appo coming up with the catch to go in and post first points in the game, not more than 2 minutes into it. I don't think it's really what the locals wanted to see on that game.
John Lomax, having just been down to have a talk to Stephen Clark, as I said earlier, it was Lomax who gave away the first penalty, and Clark did give him, I won't say a caution on the run, just told him to settle it down a little, and now he's had a second talk to the referee as David Furner lines up this kick from near touch. Just didn't strike that with the power we normally expect from David Furner. Didn't hit it sweetly, as we look at that try again.
That was absolutely brilliant. That was all created by the break that Bradley Clyde put on with that ball. Josh Hannay caught out a little bit here on the spread. He should have moved forward onto that man, shut that ball down. But as Wally said, that was an absolutely brilliant left-handed offload.
Yeah, Brandon Pearson, who could well turn out to be an excellent buy for Canberra this year. He's been to a couple of clubs. He's had his problems, Brandon Pearson. But at his best, we know, is a talented footballer. And that was a terrific start and well backed up on the inside by Graham Appo. So good start for the Canberra Raiders to lead by 4 points to 0. And it's Canberra, 30 out from their own line and getting the second penalty of the game.
You get them round around the head and let the ball go.
Well, this is turning into a little bit of a running battle at the moment. John Lomax questioning the referee. Owen Cunningham was the last up from that tackle.
Stay back.
So the chance again for Canberra, just on their own side of halfway they are.
Come on, to the line, to the line.
Simon Wolford going in to be the dummy half, again giving it away to Bradley Clyde, who gets rid of his pass then to Wiki coming up on the short side. David Furner crashing straight into the North Queensland defence. There to put him down was Owen Cunningham. Playing at prop forward tonight, Cunningham, and again Bradley Clyde working the short side, but this time the pass has gone to ground and Jason Ferris dives on it. But after only 5 minutes, Wally, we're seeing a lot of Bradley Clyde, and where he's running is just up that short right-hand side of the field.
Same guys. Get him away. Hey, 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 hey. Get away, get away. Come out here. Brad. Hey, you already got the penalty. Don't take the... Hey, keep it quiet. You got the penalty. Don't take the laws in your own hand, all right? Nothing stupid. It's the same guys, mate. There's too long. You get the hands out and clear right away.
So Jason Ferris from North Queensland and Brett Hetherington from Canberra, with Hetherington being the penalised player. The first penalty to North Queensland, 10 on their own side of halfway.
Thanks, Tom.
So they've had a try scored against them, North Queensland, and this is their first opportunity to use the ball inside Canberra territory. And away it comes to Ferris, and Ferris able to sneak his pass just on the outside, but the Canberra defence reading it extremely well. Driving it forward is Glenn Murphy.
Back.
He'll play it back to Jason Deeth. Deeth running infield is crunched, absolutely crunched.
Get away.
Brett Hetherington it was who came in and poleaxed it.
David, you want to argue from out here too? Stand there, wait, just wait. It wasn't high. Right, it was high. All right, I'm going to put the thing on report for them to have a look at. Okay, the tackle's going on report. You're just going to aim low, all right? Now you get him down. David. Mate, you're not the captain. You're not the captain. Let's just keep it quiet. Laurie's the captain. If he wants to ask something, he can, all right?
Brett Hetherington, the tackler, is on report. The penalty goes to North Queensland, and they'll take the 2 points from in front. Here's the tackle.
It was a pretty smart move from Deeth that ran there. I don't think there's going to be any objections from Canberra coach Mal Meninga about that penalty. It looked like it was a little bit higher than the referee would have liked. But it was certainly smart play from Jason Deeth to get out of there. And I think it's pretty important now for the Cowboys players to be able to get back, have a little bit of a talk together. There's no way in the world he should miss this kick. They've got to be able to structure their next attacking rate, their next 6 plays. It'll be vitally important for them that they try to continue the way the referee is requiring this game to be played. Make sure that they go up there, not go in between 2 or 3 defenders, simply aim for a single defender to get up and play the ball quickly, put a little bit of pressure on that marker to try and come up with an error and perhaps gain another penalty from the referee.
So Jason Ferris from in front. Up and over by Ferris. So do the cheers of the North Queensland fans. The Cowboys are on the board. Canberra in front by 4 points to 2. Peter Mulholland, I don't know what it was like being on the sideline last night in Melbourne, just watching that game. It sounded as if there was just a hell of a lot of noise, but couldn't have been any more than here, surely.
There's certainly no more than this, Johnny. It's a very interesting place, North Queensland, to be playing football, and I think players can be intimidated, young players in particular, but Canberra, as Wally said before, have really settled down well. I noticed Ben Kennedy's just on the sideline warming up now too, so obviously Kennedy will be out there to use his ball skills and probably working off Brad Clyde on that short side.
So North Queensland to bring it back at Jason Ferris, getting his pass wide to Ray Mercy, who's been in excellent try-scoring form for North Queensland so far this season. Jason Deeth heading back through the middle of the ruck and almost struggled through. At the last moment, he was dragged to ground by David Atkins. Offside Canberra, quick tap taken by Jason Ferris. Gets to 30 metres out from the Canberra line. Dale Shearer on the blind side to Paul Bowman, player of the match last week against Parramatta. 12 metres out from Nandruku to Shearer. The long pass to Beresford, back on the inside to pick up Dale Fritz. He's 10 metres out. Again, worked on the blind side, cutting his way through Ray Mercy and chopped the ground. Brought down only 1 metre out from the line. Little kick into the in goal, it hits the upright, and Andrew McFadden is able to clean up for Canberra.
Well, a little bit of fortune there, favouring the Canberra guys. Those massive goal pads here probably getting in the way. But really, you've got to commend the way North Queensland have kept their composure and really put pressure on the Canberra guys. A very clever grubber kick coming up, John. Well placed. Oh, boy, it didn't bounce there.
Just hitting the post, and lucky for Canberra, and lucky for North Queensland, the player who was closest to that goal post was the halfback, Andrew McFadden. I don't know what you said, Wally. Haven't got the faintest idea. I can't hear a thing. This crowd noise is just unbelievable. Penalty goes to North Queensland.
I'd already called it. Out here. Come out here, 5.
So Stephen Clark with his hands full tonight.
Okay. Nobody. Okay, mate, listen, stand up. The decision was correct. He stole the ball after we called the tackle. It's not up to you to start bad-mouthing him, or me for that matter. Keep it closed, right?
So David Boyle having a couple of words to the touch judge, having been penalised. The penalty going to North Queensland. There's David Boyle just having a couple of words, but the penalty had gone to the Cowboys anyway. So they're 35 metres out from the Canberra line. The Raiders in front by 4 points to 2. Jason Deeth just hurdling the Canberra player still in the ruck area. Dale Fritz giving it back to John Lomax. Lomax able to slip the pass, but they've been called held.
Well, John, the penalty going to Canberra. You just mentioned a couple of moments ago that you couldn't hear me, and I'm sitting half a metre away from you. We saw Johnny Lomax penalised there for throwing a pass after the referee call held. Probably a little bit audible to the people sitting at home on television, but out in the middle of the field with around about 22,000 people, I don't think he had any chance of hearing it. It's quite a clever offload, but gee, with people trying to rip your head off at the same time, it's not quite easy to hear the referee.
I agree entirely. We had heard referee Stephen Clark say that's 4, but Lomax would have had absolutely no hope whatsoever. As a half break is made by Brett Hetherington. 35 metres out from the North Queensland line. Up the blind side they go once more, and the man they're using once more is Bradley Clyde. So away to McFadden. Gives his pass to David Furner, who slips it back to the try scorer Graham Appo. He's held on to first by Cunningham, and then the tackle finished by Glenn Murphy. Simon Wolford unloading to Andrew McFadden. McFadden getting through, and he's got a great turn of pace. He gets to Dale Shearer. Shearer coming across in cover, makes a try-saving tackle. But the Raiders working hard and driving back towards the line and getting the ball down. Yeah, that's Luke DeVico, I think.
Get that ball down.
I think that's a try, John. It is one of the best offloads you'll see from dummy half. It was a well-constructed ruck play. He dropped it out the back of his hand. It really did look like they were going to try and shift the ball wide. They had Laurie Daly on the open side really screaming for possession. Simply took the ball across. Watch him just drop it out the back of his hand in there. A very talented and well-aimed attack at the goal line. We hear a lot about marker play at the moment. We just saw the marker take off to try and tail the man out of dummy half, and that really opened up the opportunity.
Well, Luke DeVico, I must admit, there's the try being given by the video referee, Doug Winton, no mistake about it. I didn't even see him come off the bench. Peter Mulholland, he must have only been on the field for a matter of seconds.
He walked on the ruck before, and that was it. I mean, it's not a bad little effort, but as Wally said, I think this little break here too has broken the defensive line. Quick play, the ball, absolutely brilliant skills from this kid underneath a high tackle. Shearer did well to pull him down here, and as Wally said, that was an absolutely brilliant pass straight out of dummy half.
Just look where he took it here, John. There was a big hole on the right-hand side of the ruck there. That's where he aimed for. The markers in desperation tried to plug the hole up. Oh,
Again, David Furner just not striking that ball with any confidence at all. As we watch this try again.
That was the ruck before, of course, where we saw this break come up.
He's picked out Johnny Lomax there, Wally. I think he's aiming himself at that once or twice. He's had little darts, and he's looking at Lomax's lateral defence.
Yeah. Well, there it was. I mean, it was at 6s and 7s, wasn't it, Pete, there?
And straight
He's
in.
dropped that ball very well. He's done quite well to get through the 2 defenders, though.
Yeah, if he has.
So Luke DeVico, as Peter said, having virtually walked off the bench just the ruck before, finds himself on the try scorers list. The second try for Canberra, and the Raiders leading by 8 points to 2. I suppose the significant thing, Wally, is that I think only twice they've got inside Canberra's North Queensland's 20 in possession, and twice they've scored. So 4 tackles gone. Ball played back to Simon Woolford, and Woolford kicking just earlier in the tackle count, driving this ball out towards Chris Tassel's wing, and will find touch just 10 metres out from the North Queensland line.
I think we'll probably see a little bit of that Peter Mulholland tonight with Ricky Stewart not available. There'll be a variety of options there for the Raiders to use. Clever kicking out of dummy half, of course, also puts them on the front foot and gains an extra, I guess, 10 metres when they're using that kick.
It does, Wally. It puts them in decision too. It takes the pressure off the halfback, doesn't it? And you've got a good onside chase with it.
Off his leg, off his leg.
Jason Ferris just able to dive on that ball. Luke DeVico got out of that scrum very quickly, and North Queensland able to get back and retrieve. Second tackle, and Dale Shearer playing it just a few metres off his own line. This is where Canberra would like to hold North Queensland. 3 tackles gone, still only 10 metres out from their own line.
That's 4, clear it.
So the Raiders, the Cowboys, just getting out of their own 20. Dale Fritz to play the ball. Jason Deeth just scampers a couple of metres out of dummy half, and then a horrid kick that he puts out on the full. So this will be a changeover, and Canberra will come up with the ball only 30 out from the North Queensland line, so another great attacking opportunity for the Canberra Raiders. Jeff McNamara to play the ball on the changeover. Andrew McFadden giving it away to Laurie Daly, turning it back to Bradley Clyde, just running on the angle. He ran into John Lomax. Luke DeVico. DeVico is a big, solid lump of a bloke and drives into the North Queensland defence. It's only 25 out.
Oh, gee.
Never onside, never onside.
So another penalty goes the way of the Raiders.
John, I think the crowd here were a little bit upset. They believed that when the Canberra player got to his feet, he wasn't quite fair in actually standing on both feet. Might have thought that he actually did a little bit of walking over the top and used the knee as well while he was... Oh, well, I tell you what, that'll be on report. Either of the 3 ones he used there.
That is an interesting one, and that is Luke DeVico, who was the player. But the penalty went the way of Canberra for North Queensland, according to Stephen Clark, having never been back on side, but I'm sure that that will be one that the video committee will be having a little look at during the week.
It's interesting. DeVico was, I think he's, no, they've brought off Hetherington. I thought they might have been bringing him off as well.
Well, Graham Appo is now taking over the goal-kicking duties from David Furner. Furner, in fact, just getting a breather at the moment, but he hasn't been striking the ball well. There's David Furner heading back towards the bench, and with him, Brett Hetherington. From out on the eastern side, Graham Appo's kick. Struck that well. No mistake about it. And so Canberra get away to lead North Queensland by 10 points to 2 after 18 minutes of the first half.
It's very interesting, Wally. There's been hardly any movement on the bench from North Queensland. The interchange not being used, and Canberra using it constantly.
Yeah, talking to a couple of them before the game, we all realise the conditions, what they were like during the day here. I guess the fellas up here are a little bit more used to it than the guys from Canberra.
I guess another slow start for North Queensland. This is probably a similar pattern to their game last week against Parramatta, where at one stage they were down by 14 points to 0 before getting up to win. But a good start by the Raiders, just what the doctor ordered for Melbourne. Ball to be played back by Todd Payton. Straight up the centre comes Ben Kennedy, just off the bench. It's a good player to be able to have on the bench, Ben Kennedy. An excellent player. As the kick again, driving Dale Shearer back towards the sideline. And the chase once more is very good by Canberra. Coming down quickly was David Boyle to lead that chase. And again to pin North Queensland inside their own 20, and 2 tackles gone as Chris Tassel will play the ball. Ferris able to get his pass into centre field. I tell you what, well, just one thing about that, North Queensland were pretty slow to get back. They'd used up 2 tackles, and it was really on the 3rd tackle before most of their players were back inside their own 20.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. They've had 5 tackles now, and they've probably only made about 16 or 18 metres.
Owen Cunningham playing the ball on the last, back to John Lomax. Well, I don't think he was supposed to get it on the last. There's the kick by Lomax. In fact, it might even turn out to be a miracle for him. Kept on the toe by North Queensland, still loose on the ground. Now the referee will rule knock on both ways. Ray Mercy couldn't come up with it. On the last.
Well, that was almost a disaster. Came about quite fortunately. Question being whether he actually should have tried to keep that on the toe. Ray Mercy looked like he had a little bit of time, but out there in the middle of the field, there was a fair bit of pressure. I didn't think he had much to lose if he had kicked it, because it was the 5th tackle.
That's right, so that was the reason for the changeover on the last, as Luke DeVico on tackle number 3. Just near his own 40-metre line, plays it back to Simon Woolford, who goes from dummy half.
What number?
Up to his feet, Woolford, albeit slowly. Now to Laurie Daly. Daly using the kick in behind Josh Hannay, putting it back into the in-goal area. Hannay had to go back and get it, and just gets into the field of play before he's met by the Canberra chase and put over. The player who got to him was Jeff McNamara. So some changes coming up from the bench for North Queensland. Some wholesale changes, in fact. With 3 tackles gone, they're still only 10 out from their own line, North Queensland. Now they get to the 20. Ball played back by Murphy. This is Ray Mercy. Last coming up. Back to Jason Deef. Then into the hands of Ferris to use the kick. Taken by Graham Appo. Appo bringing it back towards halfway.
Well, John, their last 2 sets of 6 haven't been all that good. They've been pretty ordinary. Their kicking game hasn't been constructed. That one going straight down the throat of Appo. They've really got to get a little bit more teamwork, conversation going on out the middle.
Luke DeVico giving the Raiders a fair bit to go forward since he's been on the field. And of course, having already scored a try himself. Andrew McFadden going into play the dummy half roll, giving it away to Daly. Switched on the inside to Ben Kennedy. Kennedy on the burst, looking for support, and is able to slip his pass just away on the outside to Graham Appo, again backing up brilliantly. 15 metres out from scoring from McFadden. He gets his pass away to McLinden, then to Laurie Daly, and he puts it down. An uncharacteristic mistake by Laurie Daly. And North Queensland, can they make them pay for it? No, themselves. Put the ball to ground, and it's picked up immediately, and in fact driven over the touchline. This will be interesting whether in fact there was an advantage to be played here.
Well, he's called that there was an advantage.
Brandon Pearson pushed into touch on the first tackle. Yeah, I guess the referee's right. He could have taken the option of going further infield. He elected to go towards the sideline, so there was an advantage. And North Queensland will work this scrum.
Well, we were talking about before that the North Queensland bench was a little bit quiet with the interchange. It's looking like Grand Central Station at the moment.
Well, Dale Shearer's come up with 2 try-saving tackles so far. He's a very, very important link at the moment out there.
Yeah, I think he's got to also bring his experience in the conversation department. Of course, his nickname, Rowdy, doesn't indicate that he'll be doing a hell of a lot of talking as a penalty goes the way of North Queensland. but he's got to try and get behind them. His experience on the football field, advice in tough game situations will probably be invaluable.
So North Queensland to take this tap, and Chris Tassel coming in from the left wing. Runs into the clutches of David Furner.
Come on.
25 metres out from the line. Straight ahead goes Luke Scott, who's just come from the interchange bench. So is this fella, John Doyle. Doyle runs it across field and gives it away to another fella just off the bench, Martin Locke, who had a wow of a game against Parramatta last week. Worked on the short side, back to John Doyle.
Never got back, none of this. None of this.
So a quick tap to be taken by North Queensland, only 2 metres out from the line. Back to Ferris, then away to Dale Shearer. Shearer switching it back on the inside to find Luke Scott. Held on to by Ben Kennedy, 2 metres out. Doyle at dummy half. Away again to Shearer, coming in to be the playmaker. Rolls it into the in goal, or hoped to do so. McNamara went back. Oh, and a player picked up. Well, the referee says no play on. He may have picked him from the ground, but released him. Didn't go on with the tackle. It's a dangerous thing to do, though, to lift any player off the ground these days.
That's 3. Hold it, hold it, hold it.
Third tackle gone as Luke DeVico plays the ball. Jason Croker.
Back to me, Cowboys.
Just off the interchange bench for the Raiders. David Furner. Looking to get his way through the centre of the ruck. Last coming up, Laurie Daly calls for it in centre field. Wobbly sort of kick by Laurie Daly, but it's going to have the desired result. It will find touch 40 metres out from the North Queensland line. Jason Ferris, the player, being just given a little warning on the run by Stephen Clark. Good refereeing, saying you are getting offside. I'm on to you, just don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I was never the best friends with the referees.
That would
I
be the
remember one used to
understatement
say
of the
that
year,
to me, though. He came out with the thing, he's waiting for the right opportunity. I remember a referee said that to me one day. If they haven't scored, you're offside. If they haven't scored after 5 tackles, they're getting a penalty in front. It went down well. But I think he's played the game right down the middle. We see the interchange bench continue.
This interchange referee's worked up a sweat down here, I'll tell you. He's covered more miles than the referee on the field.
So Luke DeVico comes off as Canberra now have to defend, and North Queensland 10 on their own side of halfway, with the Raiders in front by 10-2.
That's 2.
John Doyle running in to be the dummy half. In his hands now, giving his pass away through Scott Prince. Very talented youngster, Scott Prince, only 18 years of age. John Doyle starting to run. Now Doyle looking for support and was able to get it wide. Goes to Ray Mercy. Mercy was chopped to ground, though, in the tackle of Ruben Wiki. 30 metres out, ball lost. Martin Locke losing that ball, and in frustration slams the ball into the turf. Just when it looked as though they may have been able to start mounting some attack, had his eyes off the ball, Martin Locke. Yes, young Scott Prince, who's playing in the number 14 for North Queensland, only 18 years of age. Probably wouldn't have got a run in this game, I think it's fair to say, had Ricky Stewart been playing. I think Tim Sheens felt, with the experience of Stewart not there, might just be a good opportunity to blood the youngster.
Wait.
His first appearance in first grade.
That's 2. Come on, Cowboys.
Jason Croker,
come on.
one of the most experienced members of the Raiders side.
That's 3. Come on, all the way.
Bradley Clyde back on the sideline. He'll be coming back into the fray very shortly. McFadden
That's 4.
turning his pass
Fellas, here it is.
away to Todd Payton. 10 inside North Queensland territory to Jason Croker. Good tackle though on Croker. Driven to ground in a solid tackle by John Doyle, who got to him first. Laurie Daly on the short side. Kicks ahead for McLinden to chase. But it goes back to Dale Shearer, and McLinden comes after him and makes the tackle. Talking of talented players, that young fellow in the headgear is another player like young Scott Prince from North Queensland. Young McLinden from Mark McLinden from the Raiders had the honour last year, and he's only 18 years of age, of playing for Australia in 3 different codes: rugby union, rugby league and touch football.
Wait. Laurie Daly.
Penalty goes to the Cowboys.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Everyone's still going to get back 10. Ben Kennedy, a couple of times. Mate, he's not even listening or looking. You've got to get in his ear, or I'm going to have to do something about it, okay? That's the story. Everyone's got to get back 10.
Again, that's good refereeing by Steve Clark. Just tell the captain what the problem area is. Laurie Daly will fix it up, no doubt. North Queensland get the penalty. This is Josh Hannay.
That's one. Come on, make the effort.
Hannay, 8 metres inside Canberra territory. Straight ahead goes Glenn Murphy.
Come on, come on, come on. There it is.
Now across field from Jason Ferris. Ferris able to give just a short pass on the outside to pick up Scott. Now turn back on the inside to Martin Locke. Almost up to the 20 of Canberra. Now to Dale Shearer. Shearer tries to get through the tackle of McFadden. Slipped away from him. Kennedy has him. Loses the ball. Dale Shearer as he's flung to ground by Ben Kennedy. So this is the 0 tackle. Canberra just throwing a pass loose on the ground. The player who did that was Brett Hetherington, and he's lost the ball. So North Queensland get it back immediately, and Glenn Murphy gets to only 15 metres out from the Canberra line. Scott Prince, 10 metres out. Played back to Doyle. Now away to Ferris, to Lomax. Dummies, standing in the tackle, Lomax. They swarm on him, though, like bees to a honeypot. Player down injured, though, for Canberra, so they're one down in the defensive line at the moment. It's McFadden, the halfback, hitting a little kick into the in goal, and the player who was there to get it
he's in a bit of strife
was Brett
too.
Hetherington. Yeah, he is in a little bit of strife, just in behind the goal line.
He signalled to the bench that he's not worth 2 bob. I think the discipline's got to start coming into both teams' plays. Although the kick coming in was an opportunity, I think Canberra had that more than adequately covered. They had 3 or 4 players in the immediate range where they could have grabbed it. But it's fallen into a bit of a lull, the game at the moment. We've seen both teams' discipline really go out the window. I think it's time that Canberra try and just come up with a smart set of running 6 plays, not up the middle of the ruck, take it on the edge and just try and make sure they gain a little bit of territory before using their kick.
Laurie Daly able to get his pass on the outside to Brandon Pearson.
He was still there. No, I'm not kidding. You've got to get up.
Brandon Pearson not getting to his feet and picking up the ball to play it. Let's watch what he did.
Give me a break.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Now, fair dinkum, he had a speed bump in front of... yeah, I don't like referees, I'll leave it at that. But if he had a fair chance of playing the football there, I'll walk to Burke.
Well, he did get to his feet and play it for mine. Anyway, the penalty has gone to North Queensland. And Hannay coming in from the wing is tackled. He'll play it back to Doyle, and Doyle gives it away to Martin Locke. And Locke throws a pass which is immediately intercepted. He just didn't have a look where he was throwing that pass to, Martin Locke. And the player who came through very quickly, Simon Wolford, said, "Thank you, that'll do me."
Penalties 8-4 in favour of the North Queensland at the moment.
So Jason Croker playing the ball, 40 out from his own line, and McLinden gives it away to Laurie Daly, and Daly heading straight back to the middle of the ruck, and he's through. He gets up to Dale Shearer. Shearer just shepherds him across field, and then Druku comes in to help Shearer make the tackle on him. Back to Bradley Clyde, gives it away to Luke DeVico, slips his pass away to McLinden. McLinden trying to fire it out wide to Ruben Wiki. Wiki lost it. Ball has been knocked on.
Thanks, mate.
Hear the referee there calling, "Thanks, mate." Obviously a big bonus. The communication system between the referee and the touch judges. He was in a difficult position, Stephen Clark, at that stage to adjudicate on the ruling. A little bit of assistance from his touch judge.
10 inside the Cowboys half. Dale Shearer coming in as first receiver. Oh, on the inside comes Noah Nandruku and runs into Brandon Pearson with a high shot. This will be interesting.
Brandon Pearson.
To his credit, he got straight to his feet, Noah Nandruku. He mightn't be feeling the best, but he did get straight to his feet.
This one's going on report as well. That one's also on report, Doug. Can't you get him down?
Busy week for the video review committee.
Yeah, it was high. I don't think was quite as bad as what it first looked.
Yeah.
You've got to give a lot of credit, haven't you, to Nandruku. He got to his feet straight away.
Yep.
It's enormous credit to the bloke.
Didn't try and milk it and make a big thing of it. He did get him high, but then as he did get him high, he just slipped off the tackle, didn't go on with it. North Queensland are now 15 out from the line. Through Doyle to Lomax. Lomax stepping, standing like a colossus in centre field. Over the top, though, comes Hetherington. Played back to Doyle, who goes out of dummy half and gets to only 2 metres out from the line. Ball being lost, though, by North Queensland. Put to ground by Scott Prince. Maybe a little bit of nerves by the youngster.
Yeah, a little bit of nerves, a little bit of panic play, a little bit of bad discipline. Peter Mulholland, as a coach yourself, both teams seem to be having problems with simple errors like these, just control of the football. What do? You've only got 5 minutes to go until the halftime break. Is there anything you can do to stop simple errors like these?
I just go back to a pretty simple set of 6. I mean, it's just a matter of controlling it for a set of 6, and whoever's got the ascendancy then, and that's going to be getting on their way to winning a match. But just watching it, the young fellas from North Queensland have been panicking too, Wally, haven't they? They've sort of, every now and again there's a mistake comes up, and it comes up mainly through them.
So the Raiders just bringing out from their own territory. 3 tackles gone, and that's their own 30-metre mark. Luke DeVico just running as a decoy, and the pass being thrown in behind to Jason Croker, put over on tackle number 4. Simon Wolford makes 5 metres out of dummy half, and the last coming up. Laurie Daly setting himself in behind the ruck. It's in the hands of the skipper now, and he kicks back towards centre field. Up towards the goalposts. Dale Shearer dropping back for it. Gets away from the first line of Canberra defence, and it's DeVico coming up in the second line, who puts Dale Shearer to ground. Now a quick dart by Noah Nandruku against his former teammates. Back into centre field, away to Ferris, then to Lomax. Again getting wide, John Lomax. Just a classic tackle on him, though, by Bradley Clyde. 4 tackles gone, just inside Canberra Raiders territory. Again on the short side to John Lomax, running close to his halfback Jason Ferris. 5 tackles gone. No one went to dummy half initially. Bit of a scramble as it comes back to Jason Ferris, and he puts up the high kick. Atto's gone for it. Penalty goes to the Raiders. In front of the kicker. And didn't stay up the 10 metres, Earl Stephen Clark.
Didn't he take off, Appo? He went in, got that far into the ground, he decided to try a chip kick while he was up there.
Well, it might be nearly time for Laurie Daly to inject himself in this last 4 or 5 minutes. He's had one incisive run, and he's been standing back directing more than anything. Yeah,
probably pretty important for Laurie that he decides to run, even to take a couple of forward rucks up. He mightn't make all that much territory when he does it, but the major value will be it'll embarrass his forwards to see that their captain is doing the forwards' workload. It will certainly make them work a little bit harder.
Nandruku and Bowman going in to make the first tackle on Luke DeVico. Just 5 metres short of halfway now. Player injured here.
He's hurt. Gee, fell very awkwardly too. He was tackled, and then while one player had him on the ground, he was pushed backwards. Certainly come up with a twist of the ankle or the knee. Hopefully it won't be too serious. Perhaps just a simple twist, but it really did look horrible the way he fell.
Well, the moment he did go down on that tackle, Todd Payton, the Cowboys players immediately called to the sideline. Here it is again.
You see, there's the ankle that's got twisted underneath. Oh, ankles aren't made of plasticine, unfortunately. They can't bend like that.
There's a bit of weight on top of it too, wasn't there?
Look at that, he's twisted underneath. I understand why he's leaving the field. Sympathies to him going that way, Todd. He's really hitting up the hard way, and you don't wish any player an injury like that. Obviously a very painful one. Perhaps the medical staff may be able to do something in the halftime break to bring him back into the second half, because I think the loss of a forward in the game like this would be something that could be very crucial.
So as we come to the last couple of minutes of the first half, and the Raiders leading by 10 points to 2 over the Cowboys. Brett Hetherington, another hard bullocking run by Hetherington, looking to get his arm free to unload, but there was no one running close to him. Now Bradley Clyde. He's done a lot of work in this first half, Bradley Clyde. 5 tackles gone. Wolford just kicks out of dummy half and stabs it towards the touchline, just in front of Chris Tassel, and finds touch on the North Queensland 20.
On the ball simply getting dribbled into touch there, John. I really felt that was a bit of a nothing play. Perhaps they are a little bit tired and needing a little bit of a spell, the guys, but I think they've missed a golden opportunity of being able to grab themselves another 6 tackles, putting the ball up high. They're only about 25 to 30 metres out from the line. 6 more tackles just a couple of minutes before half-time could have been a very telling factor in this match.
So Ray Mercy to play this ball after the scrum win by North Queensland. And Shearer getting it away to Scott Prince. Prince, the youngster, comes up towards Appo. Runs into a tackle by Appo that got him around the chest. The crowd started to yell and scream, and there's no doubt that that's where it got him, and the referee indicated as such, but a good break made by Prince. So North Queensland get to 30-yarders. Mercy plays the ball to Tassel. Tassel gives his pass. Away on the inside. Comes a good pass to pick up Owen Cunningham. Cunningham inside the 20. Did well to get it back to Doyle. Now away to Ferris, and Ferris gives it to Noah Nandruku. Nandruku trying to sneak his way past. Held on to, though, by Daly. Ball played. Put on the toe by North Queensland. Luke DeVico is there, though, to clean it up and has been hurt in that tackle. Referee blowing time off.
Well, I think that both coaches will remind their players at half-time, although they're in a difficult situation there. Some of the choices that they've made in their kicking game quite close to the line have been pretty ordinary. I just mentioned a few moments ago about Canberra missing a golden opportunity to perhaps post more points. Here with North Queensland, about 30 seconds out from the break, I thought a bomb would have been the perfect choice to make there, put an enormous amount of pressure on their opponents.
Brett Hetherington takes the tackle as the hooter goes for half-time. A half that really started in very spirited fashion and fell away somewhat towards the end of the first 40 minutes. But the Canberra Raiders go in with a comfortable lead, an 8-point lead, and I'm sure Mel Meninga will be stressing to his side that, hey, Parramatta were in the same position against this team last week, and we know the result, so there's a long way to go yet. But Canberra in front at half-time here at Malanda Stadium in Townsville. It's the Raiders 10 and the North Queensland Cowboys 2. Back shortly for the second half. As the players come back out for the second half of this game from Malanda Stadium in Townsville, with the Canberra Raiders leading the North Queensland Cowboys by 10 points to 2. First half that just deteriorated somewhat, and I think the word that you used, Wally, that both sides lacked was discipline.
Yeah, I'm sure both coaches would have reminded their players about that at half-time. Pretty interested to see the way both teams structure their sets of 6 in the first 10 minutes or so of this second half. I think it's imperative for them both to structure them correctly, probably more so just to gain confidence in their own play as much as anything else.
Well, as Canberra bring it back on this first set of 6 in the second half. The hands there of Andrew McFadden, giving it wide to Ben Kennedy. Let's take you to the sideline. The assistant coach to Tim Sheens for the North Queensland Cowboys is Murray Hurst. Murray, what did Tim have to say to the side during the break?
Well, John, it's a real problem for us. We really haven't done anything we rehearsed to do during the week, and most particularly down the attacking end, we haven't really completed sets, and our kicking game has been abysmal today.
I was going to say that, mate, the kicking game, you do enough work to get up towards the try line where the Canberra boys are, but the short kicking game around certainly hasn't been something I guess Tim would have preferred in this game.
Well, that's true. I mean, obviously, we're probably missing Andrew Doonerman in that regard, and you know, we've got a young kid out there at the moment who's 18. He's very capable in that, but this is his first-grade game. But Jason Ferris normally dominates our kick down that end, and along with Andrew, who isn't there, but it's pretty disappointing to date, so hopefully we can improve on it.
Thanks, Murray. Murray Hurst, the assistant coach to Tim Sheens for the Cowboys. From a disappointed dressing room, as we see Jason Deeth making just a half break, getting it 32 metres out from the Canberra line. Now in the hands of Jason Ferris. Ferris to the short side, gave his pass away to Ray Mercy, couldn't take it. Goes into the clutches of Graham Appo, and Appo is immediately put to ground by Owen Cunningham. So the Raiders leading at half-time by 8 points, and Laurie Daly getting a pass which went back on the inside, and McFadden is able to pick it up, just sweeping in the second line of attack for Canberra. Luke DeVico. Another hard-charging run by DeVico. On the second tackle, he's almost up to halfway. Wolford out of dummy half, gave his pass to Hetherington, and went backwards, and it's picked up by Wolford, slammed to ground by John Lomax. McFadden goes in to be the dummy half, gives it away, first of all to Laurie Daly. Daly just running to the line and giving it back on the inside to Jason Croker. Just loose on the ground, and a changeover. North Queensland coming up with possession.
Well, that's 2 sets of 6 both teams have had, and they've had sloppy plays, the both of them. Oh, and here we're about to see.
Graham Appo will be the player called out here.
Sorry.
We're going to see the referee just come over and take a look at the player, the state of him on the ground, perhaps prior to making up his mind on how he think he should act.
I think is it Jason Ferris that's the player down there? I can't see for the trainer.
I think we see him laying on the ground the longer he's on the turf. Referee Stephen Clark will probably make a decision based on that. They've called for the cart to be brought onto the field. He's doing a little bit of snoring on the floor. Very surprised.
Bring the cart.
So the little medevac is being called for. Graham Appo just being told to stand with his captain, Laurie Daly. As the cart is brought onto the field, official crowd attendance posted for tonight, 20,048 here at Malanda Stadium.
The longer we see him on the ground, the worse it may be for Graham Appo's fate. Ferris laying there in a bit of a distressed state.
Let's have a look at it again.
Well, make your own mind up at home on that one. The crowd have already made their mind up on it, John, and I pretty much think that the referee has too.
Yes, if I were Graham Appo, I wouldn't be planning on staying on the field for much longer tonight.
I'm not sure my man is going to watch, so I'm just talking about it. All right, leave it. Yep. Yep. Dale, I don't need you either, please.
Dale Shearer just coming in to referee the game.
I've made up my mind what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, he's made his mind up.
I don't think you have to be Albert Einstein to know what decision he's come to.
No, we heard the crowd chanting off. It was interesting to see what brought that up. They had it flashing on the scoreboard. Crowd chanting in unison. So I think the Canberra blokes could probably get together now.
And he is one very sick boy.
Oh, yeah. They've got to make up their mind now that, that they've got to put their head down and really struggle it out for this last 35, 36 minutes of the game.
Jason Ferris, the halfback for North Queensland, himself, of course, a former Canberra Raider. And just running into that high shot from Graham Appo. And to give Graham Appo his due, he knew the moment he hit Jason Ferris that he was in trouble, and you can see the look on Graham Appo's face that he knows he's in trouble himself, but you can just tell that he's very concerned for this player that he has injured.
I'm going to do something more than a report.
I think he called there he's doing something more than a report.
Yeah. Well,
I've heard on the referee's mic too. He's assistants on the sideline.
The Medivac is out there, but now the medical staff just building the frame around Jason Ferris, so that if he does have any sort of a neck injury, let's hope to God he doesn't, but the medical staff, as we saw last night in Canberra, or in Sydney at Brookvale Oval, when the helicopter was brought in, they don't take any risks. The player safety comes first. There's Tim Sheens, very anxious North Queensland coach, looking on.
I think Laurie's probably felt that they're going to struggle a little bit here. He obviously wants to hear from the referee, but I think he'd be just as well advised to go and speak to his players, trying to work out who will fill in that fullback role if Appo is sent from the field by referee Stephen Clark.
So Jason Ferris, they didn't have to, in the end, or they just built the frame around him, then put the neck brace on him before they loaded him on the Medivac. He's taken from the field. We'll have a report from Peter Mulholland on the sideline as soon as there is an official word from the medical staff. Now we'll take you back to the referee, Stephen Clark, with Graham Appo and Laurie Daly.
I've made my decision what I'm going to do. It was obviously a very high tackle. You're gone. And mate, there is miles too many. We just had that discussion. You agree? There is too many high shots, all right?
Let me give you two now, I'll fucking tell them.
You tell them now.
All right.
There's a penalty going. You go and get them right now and be very strong. Mate, it's both sides, all right? There's been more for them. Now, you talk to your blokes as well. And if you guys don't fix it, I'm going to, right?
So the penalty goes to North Queensland, and Graham Appo sent off for a high tackle on Jason Ferris. And as we said, we'll have a report as soon as there is one from the North Queensland medical staff on the condition of Jason Ferris. And here's the incident again. Caught in a very high shot by Graham Appo. So North Queensland 30 metres out now from the Raiders line. Luke Scott to play the ball. Out of dummy half, goes deep and turns his pass back just on the inside to pick up Cunningham. Now to John Doyle. Doyle giving his pass wide to Kyle Warren. Warren 10 metres out from the line, through Bowman, then away to Doyle. Steps off the right foot, runs into the clutches though of Ruben Wiki on number 5. To Dale Shearer. Shearer will use the bomb. Putting it out towards Tassel's wing, it's going to be batted back. Picked up again by North Queensland. Tackle made immediately by McFadden, and on the last it's the changeover, and so the Raiders get the ball, bringing it out from their own 20.
And that was a very good desperation tackle from Andrew McFadden. A great bomb put across field by Dale Shearer. I think you saw that the amount of Canberra players that raced over to get there. Laurie Daly sprinting across from 5'8" to get to the assistance of some of his players. Probably helped ease the situation, but we're going to see Jeff McNamara revert to the fullback role now.
And that was McNamara just giving his pass away to Ruben Wiki. Wiki just got through the first attempted tackle of Kyle Warren, then immediately put over by Tassel. From McFadden away to Laurie Daly. Daly kicking. Going back forward is Josh Hannay, who'll pick it up just out from his own line. The Canberra chase, though, was good. So they're 10 out from their own line as it's in the clutches of Dale Shearer. Got away from McFadden and then throws a pass, which is picked up on the bounce by Chris Tassel. Tassel able to give his pass on the outside. Had it been able to be taken by Ray Mercy, he could have been away, but the pass was ill-directed, went behind Mercy. He couldn't control it. And Chris Tassel having thrown that pass. Let's have a look what happened to him.
Well, the video will give us a fair indication as to whether we've been a little bit too critical. The pass going slightly in behind Ray Mercy, but really you can't afford to give away opportunities like that, Peter. We're going to find that will happen a fair bit in this second half now. The Cowboys will start spreading the ball wide, seeing they've got a one-man advantage up front.
Exactly, Wally, and they've got to realise they've just got to utilise the ball right through to the end of the 6 tackles now. They've one player down, as you said. They're also one off the interchange bench, remembering with the young Peyton that's got the bad ankle. But Ray Mercy should have given himself another yard behind his player with the ball then as well.
Hold it there. Hold it steady. Nice and steady. Come
So
in
Chris
slow.
Tassel is okay, and this scrum
steady.
is 10 inside North Queensland territory, fed by McFadden. Wide pass goes to Jason Croker, who steps and almost got through. Chased from behind by Paul Bowman, who makes the tackle on him. Through Wolford away to McFadden. McFadden runs it to the line, then is thrown to ground in the tackle of Luke Scott. Wolford back to McFadden, then to Hetherington. Hetherington to Furner. David Furner barges into Lomax.
There it is.
Then the tackle was eventually completed. Jason Croker.
It's against you. After the way after.
So for a late tackle by North Queensland, Canberra get this penalty and they'll have a shot at goal.
Yeah, Kyle Warren, the man called for the late shot on Laurie Daly. Smart play from Laurie. He's got to start running the ball as often as he possibly can. An offload certainly didn't look to be any real venom or intent of a high tackle on it, simply late. Canberra with the opportunity now to post further points and pick up a 10-point lead in this game.
And David Furner comes back to the goal-kicking role, having had two very ordinary shots at goal in the first half, was then replaced by Graham Appo, who potted his one shot at goal. But Appo, of course, has subsequently been sent from the field. So David Furner, 25 metres out, 10 to the right-hand side, strikes this one a little better, it's there. And so Canberra lead by 12 points to 2 over North Queensland.
John, just on Jason Ferris, the good news is there's no apparent neck injury. They've checked him right through for that. He has certainly a very, very bad concussion. They're still in there working on him on the table now, just bringing him through you know, a set of tests and that. But I guess for his parents back down there in Walker, the good news is that there's no neck injury.
Well, that is the good news of the night. Thanks for that, Peter. Peter Mulholland with that report just from the North Queensland medical staff concerning the injury to Jason Ferris. 12 points to 2 it is in favour of the Raiders. Luke DeVico.
Wally, this is just about where you were saying before the match. It's the game of the bench, and the Canberra bench now have just got to stand up, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and I think it's going to be used in a different sort of a way. They realise now that they'll be playing 7 backs, and penalty game for holding down. Referee being very consistent all the way through the game. A lot of the crowd not enjoying it, but at least he's staying consistent with the ruling of holding the slow play the ball down. On that occasion, Jason Death, the guy called for the penalty.
Well,
plenty of them in the game.
North Queensland have given away a few penalties. Well, this kick hasn't found touch. Hasn't found touch. So that is a bad mistake by Canberra. But my point was going to be, Wally, that you would think from North Queensland's point of view, Tim Sheens, their coach, would be awfully frustrated. The penalties they've given away in the last few minutes, Canberra are a man short. By giving away penalties from North Queensland, you're simply giving Canberra the chance to cling to their lead and stay in the game and keep possession.
Well, you've got to try and deny them the time and space that they've got with the football. But Canberra now, we're going to be interested to see just how they run with their defensive pattern, whether they stay with 2 markers or just 1. A lot of teams, when they believe that they're 1 player short in the game, it's a lot better to elect to have 1 marker and play him as just a little bit of a safety role rather than chasing. Another penalty coming up.
Luke DeVico, the penalised player, and had a few words to say and gets marched. We've already seen some very well publicised.
Oh, it's just gone out from Shearer. Turned out to be a brilliant one. There's the replay of the incident coming up, simply holding down.
A couple of well-publicised incidents where players have been sent off this season for doing exactly what Luke DeVico did, back-chatting. So a couple of metres from the line now, North Queensland. To John Lomax. Lomax running straight at David Furner and Croker, and they hold on to him. Back to Wolford. Wolford sneaking away from dummy half. Gave a short pass back to Scott Prince. He's 5 metres from the line. To Dale Shearer, burrowing towards the goalposts. Held on to on number 4, Shearer. from Wolford, away to Doyle. Doyle just a short pass to pick up Kyle Warren. Last is coming up now for North Queensland.
That's 6, hand over.
That's poor discipline in the play. 3 consecutive rucks. The North Queensland players had a 3 or 4 man overlap to their right-hand side. Canberra was stretched there at 6s and 7s. A couple of the players that were out that side of the field were forwards, attempting to get back into the middle of the field. They're going to have to start playing a little bit smarter football if they're going to stay in this football match. They've got to get back in it to start with.
So the Raiders, 10 from their own line, Ben Kennedy. Tackled on number 3, just inside his own 20. Daly does well to get in and clean up the scraps and give it away to Luke DeVico, running on the fringe of the ruck. Back again to Ben Kennedy. Second hit up in this set. On the last, Laurie Daly kicking down behind Chris Tassel. Dale Shearer comes across from fullback and gets the bounce to it and then runs into Ruben Wiki, and Ruben Wiki will throw him over the touchline. He got the pass back in field though before he crossed the line, and Ray Mercy was there to get it. Chris Tassel coming from dummy half. Tassel put to ground. He was put over in the tackle of David Atkins. On their own 40, North Queensland. Jason Death having a scamper from dummy half. Put over by David Furner. 4 tackles gone. Dale Fritz just on halfway. On the last, back to Paul Bowman. Bowman's kick down to Jeff McNamara, who's dropped back to play at fullback with the send-off of Graham Appo. Good return too by McNamara.
That's a couple he's come up with, hasn't it?
Wally, you're right about that marker defence too, just watching it down here in back play. He's dropping that the young halfback back at about tackle 4. And then there's 1 marker from then on in.
Jason Croker on his own 40. Plays it back to Wolford, then it goes to Laurie Daly, who dummies to the right-hand side and then steps back into the left, but immediately runs into trouble as he was hit in the tackle of Dale Fritz. Kicked by North Queensland, just using up time now, the Raiders, knowing that they have a 10-point lead and playing a man short. They just want to use up the clock, the Raiders. Stephen Clark with his hands full here tonight.
Hang on. Canberra, let the Cowboys hook her in. Come on, bring it up. There you go.
Work to the scrum by John Doyle, won by North Queensland, away to Shearer, who gives it away to Noah Nandruku. Nandruku, who's been well spotted tonight by his former teammates at Canberra. They know that if you let him run, he's one of the quickest men in the game. They've marked him very closely. And a penalty will come to North Queensland. Bowman pushed to ground as he got to his feet to play it. So the penalty count favours North Queensland by 12-7. And the kick-finding touch just on the 20 of Canberra. Glenn Murphy.
Got him one, to the line, to the line.
On tackle number 1, Murphy to play the ball. To Martin Locke. Locke running wide, but no one in support with him. Played back, sneaking straight through the middle goes Dale Fritz and gets to only a couple of metres out from the line. Now to Scott Prince. Prince able to give it just a short pass away to pick up Glenn Murphy, and he'll score, the big fella, right next to the post. And that brings the crowd to life and puts the Cowboys back into business.
And they are celebrating a couple of very smart plays from North Queensland. We'll see a man with his name down on the try sheet, but really you can put that down to Jason Death. The previous ruck, he took off and put the defence in about 3 minds. finding weight of numbers impossible to match. They're going to do it tough for quite some time now, Canberra. They're just being stretched all over the paddock and haven't got the men on the field to be able to match them.
Well, we said about young Scott Prince, he's only 18 years of age, and he did look nervous in the first half, but that was a lovely ball that he was able to get away to pick up Glenn Murphy. So Josh Hannay to take this kick from in front as Mark Graham, the former great Kiwi international on the coaching staff here at North Queensland, lays down the coach's instructions. He had a second look at that, Josh Hannay. He didn't strike it all that well, but he got the desired result.
He might be only 18 years of age, but he's certainly taken the Canberra defence in there. It's probably a tackle to David Furner, and will probably never miss again. But as Wally said, they're awfully tired. Didn't come off their line all that well, and with a great set of feet, he's put a pass on for the score. Wally, this perhaps is a little bit negative from Canberra wanting to eat the clock up too, you know. Yeah,
I've got to agree with that, mate. I was going to say that simple kick that they put into play just prior to North Queensland gaining possession was on the third or fourth tackle. It's strange that they were putting it there. They looked like they were looking for a rest rather than trying to keep possession as often as they could. They've got plenty of players. They don't need to run the time down. There's too much time on the clock left to be able to try and bank on that.
That's two!
So 12 points to 8 it is in favour of Canberra. And still a lot of time remaining in this game. As Dale Shearer makes a half break and he's caught from behind by McLinden and just slowed down enough. He was able to get his pass away, but it was a desperate tackle by McLinden. Now away to Death, and then it goes to Doyle, and Doyle able to shoot his pass away, turned on the inside to Ray Mercy. Mercy will play at 10 inside Canberra's half. To Jason Death, just slipped. No North Queensland player to get there, and Simon Wolford was Johnny on the spot for the Raiders to dive on the loose ball. David Atkins, just inside his own territory. Brandon Pearson takes it over the halfway mark. McLinden works it onto the blind side again to David Atkins. Atkins grabbed and thrown to ground by Josh Hannay. So 5 tackles gone for the Raiders. McLinden runs in to be the dummy half, gives it away to McFadden, and then it goes on to Daly. Daly kicking in behind Chris Tassel. The Cowboys winger brings it off his own line. David Boyle making the tackle on his opposing winger. Dale Shearer to play it. Away to Doyle. Doyle to Martin. Third tackle as Locke plays it on his own 20. Scott Prince giving the pass away to Glenn Murphy.
Tell me the next break, Colt. Tell me the next break, Colt.
And the kick.
Who is it?
Just a little earlier in the tackle count by North Queensland. And the Raiders bring it back to a few metres short of halfway. McNamara plays the ball. McFadden goes from dummy half. Had McLinden coming on the inside of him, couldn't get the pass, plays it back to McLinden now. 10 inside North Queensland territory. Daly switching it back to Ben Kennedy and then to Clyde. Brad Clyde running into a gap. Looked on the outside to try and get his pass away, but he was taken in a good tackle by Jason Death. Again away to Daly and then to Ruben Wiki. Wiki had Boyle on the outside of him, but he's taken into touch by the North Queensland defence.
Who was that trainer?
Watch it again as Ray Mercy coming across in cover. Just gets hold of Ruben Wiki and he puts his foot just over the touch.
At the end. We're seeing a little bit of a caution being issued here, an unusual one being handed out.
I told him to keep his mouth shut, and he's having another go.
What do I say? Hey, Brian.
Brian Hyder it is.
Don't say anything. I can hear it. Mate, keep it quiet. I can hear everything that's going on through their microphone. Don't let him talk to you again. If you do, I will order you from the field and you won't be back, right? And if you want, Brian, if you want to laugh about it, mate, I am fair dinkum, right? Next time. Yeah, that's what I saw.
Brian Hyder, who has been with Tim Sheens for a long time and his coaching staff. He was with him at Penrith. Then, of course, he was with him at the Canberra Raiders. And now, of course, for a couple of seasons here in North Queensland.
Yeah, well, he's been on the field quite some time, Brian. He's one of the most highly respected trainers in the game. Does a very good job transferring instructions from the coach to his players. That's the first time I've seen a trainer get a shit on the football field.
So we're back to near halfway with North Queensland in possession and the Raiders in front by 4 as we're midway through the second half here at Malanda Stadium in Townsville, and Doyle turns it away to Martin Locke. Locke standing in the tackle, but Bradley Clyde comes in to make sure he can't get rid of the pass. Given away from John Doyle. Just a short pass, which perhaps in the long run he wished he hadn't thrown. Now to Dale Shearer. Shearer kicks. Is it going to roll just a little too deep? It doesn't. Sits up in the in goal. McNamara has to bring it back.
And that's great play from McNamara. He had everything against him there. Didn't try and run through the players, simply took it to the line and dived through. He knew he was no chance of barging his way through. That's brilliant. He's given his team the opportunity of possession, but more importantly, denied the Cowboys. Here he comes. Look at this, just dived underneath him. That's great work. I know that there'll be a couple of Canberra players pretty relieved that they haven't got to go up in a defensive line from a drop kick.
So the Raiders on tackle number 5. Played back by Hetherington, gets his pass away to McFadden, who kicks. Not much of him, but it was a deep kick, putting it over the head of Dale Shearer. David Boyle leads the chase for the Raiders and puts Shearer to ground. Chris Tassel runs himself to the blind side. McLinden makes the tackle on him. Shearer again, just wanting to get involved, perhaps just following what Wally Lewis said a little earlier, that in this situation, an experienced player like Dale Shearer has to be involved. The North Queensland coach, Tim Sheens. So they get inside Canberra's territory by a couple of metres, and the little kick through being put in by Scott Prince. Taken, though, by Brandon Pearson. Almost pushed over the touchline, stays just in the field of play. Now to Daly. Daly starts to run, Laurie Daly, and he's dangerous every time he does so. Loses the ball. He'll claim it was knocked out by North Queensland. The referee rules that he lost at goal, Laurie Daly.
Not too much argument from Laurie either. Getting up, trying to play the ball pretty quickly. Looked like he was trying to milk a penalty there, and in the long run, it worked against him.
Subs.
So Mel Meninga, the Raiders coach, just ringing the changes. Having David Furner arrest, sending Ben Kennedy back into the fray. Scrum win to North Queensland, to Paul Bowman. Bowman, who stood out of that scrum to be first receiver, and Doyle gives his pass away to Fritz. Steps into the clutches, though, of Jason Croker. Doyle again. Runs back to where the last ruck was held. They're just up on the 20. Martin Locke. Locke going back into traffic. 4 tackles gone, 11 metres out from the line, the Cowboys. The Raiders lead by 4 to Jason Deeth. Deeth rolling the ball into the in goal, battle for possession. Canberra will come up with it. Canberra ball right on their own line.
Get back, mate.
McLinden it was who saved the day for the Raiders right on his own line, and then they draw a penalty.
And Laurie Daly taking charge. That's smart play. He's got to get up there, lead from the front, make sure that his players following. They're going to do it tough for the rest of the game. It was really brilliant play on that occasion, though. I think it was Jason Ferris that actually got back, Andrew McFadden that got back to defuse a very dangerous situation. He had Mark McLinden alongside him, but...
Well, you talk about Laurie Daly leading. I've just seen Bradley Clyde make 4 tackles in a row and then take the next hit up. I mean, it's just, if I had old legs like that, I'd absolutely love it. And the newspapers are saying he's too old to play the game.
Last tackle coming up, and there is Laurie Daly, who uses the kick again behind Chris Tassel. Now Tassel, back in his own in-goal area, is put to ground.
Reuben Wiki, inside that 10. I was yelling out to you. They're all behind you.
So Reuben Wiki, according to Steve Clark, never onside. Never gave Chris Tassel the 10 metres.
Which is a real shame because he certainly was covered, and there was a drop ball there which could have given possession to the Raiders in a scrum 10 metres out from the line.
I often wonder, Wally, we saw the situation with Jeff McNamara running the ball out from the in-goal, and again Chris Tassel there. A lot of players don't do in that situation. They only have to go touch in goal themselves and pick the ball up, and it would come out to the 20 for a replay, but a lot instead pick the ball up and then have to try and work their way out.
Turnover and possession, John. This is something that the Cowboys didn't need. I think we'll see the experienced Canberra players really lead from here.
And one of the most experienced is Laurie Daly, who takes it up to the 20 before he's tackled. Played, sneaking back inside goes McNamara.
That's 2 to the line.
Inside the 10 and only a few metres out. From McLinden. Then away to McFadden trying to get through. 2 metres from the line. Ball played back to Luke DeVico. DeVico, who scored 1 try already, held up.
Held up he is, but he's gained his team another 6 tackles.
Scott Prince was one of the players with Jason Death who was able to get underneath Luke DeVico to make sure he couldn't ground the ball.
Yeah, it really looked like he took the wrong option on this occasion. Looked like he was pretty adequately covered, but it's turned out to the best for his teammates.
So scrum 1 by Canberra, and McLinden almost through a gap. At the last moment, he was cut down by Kyle Warren. Back to Laurie Daly and then to Ben Kennedy. Kennedy throws a pass which is loose and snapped up by John Doyle. So North Queensland have it, 11 out from their own line. The Raiders lead by 4 with just 14 minutes remaining. Remembering that Canberra are playing with man short with Graham Appo having been sent from the field. Dale Shearer with an injury.
No, bring it in. Just wait. That was 2.
So Shearer in the hands of the trainer as the ball is played, and Martin Locke getting it back to Jason Death.
That's 3.
Good tackle by Ben Kennedy on Death. Doyle away to Lomax. Lomax turns it back to Glenn Murphy. Murphy tackled again by Ben Kennedy. Martin Locke just on the halfway mark. Pops the pass back to John Doyle. Doyle throwing it wide. Getting his pass to Kyle Warren on the outside. It comes to Ray Mercy. Mercy was almost over the touchline. Threw a pass which will be picked up by McLinden. And Mark McLinden able to sneak his pass away. Canberra very tired, the Raiders, and playing a man short and 25 from their own line.
John, they are very tired, but they're throwing risky passes. Look, they've shifted the ball to the middle of the field here. Laurie Daly's opened them up, but turned over possession. This is big trouble.
And away very quickly to Noah Nandruku. Nandruku going for the corner. He'll bring it around and score. Nandruku against his old club. Noah Nandruku scores the try that makes it 12-all with a kick to come.
Well, simple mistakes again. Really looked like the pressure had gone off the Raiders temporarily. Laurie Daly, you can just see how tired they were. Strange that they decided to shift the ball wide. They had no chance of being able to crack it. They were 2 up against 7 or 8. The ball picked up by Paul Bowman, simply tipped out to Nadruku. And really, he probably would have found an extra couple of metres playing against his own team, his old team, I'm sorry. Drawn the scores level. The kick to come, and there will be plenty of noise if this goes over. A great sprint, but that was just a sheer example, Peter, of some tired people on the football field that weren't putting their hands up to do a little bit of work.
It certainly was. I think, Wally, that, Laurie Daly is injecting himself in the game. He's taking a leadership role. It's just unfortunate the mistake, but they've really got to settle down and as you said before, they tried to close it up a bit earlier. You get into that negative frame of mind, and they've got to start to look at these forwards and do a bit of extra work. But these wingers have got to come in. Boyle's got to come off the wing and take a bit of pressure off them as well.
So the pressure is on John Doyle. Just in from touch on the eastern side. The kick looks good in flight. The crowd like it. Do they like it? They love it. And for the first time, the Raiders are behind tonight. The Cowboys are in front by 14-12. 11 minutes remaining. Canberra playing a man short. So North Queensland, from the restart, bring it back out to their own 20. Noah Nandruku, having just scored the try that drew the Cowboys level with the Raiders. Back into the action once more.
Well, they've got to make sure they come up with a good kicking game. Canberra don't have a fullback at the moment. They have no one standing behind the defensive line. The Cowboys have got the opportunity to kick deep and perhaps make 50 or 60 metres.
Cunningham to play the ball. Spread wide to Martin Locke. On tackle number 5, and that is the halfway mark in screen. Back to Doyle. Out of dummy half with a high kick. Taken well, though, for Canberra by Mark McLinden. He's lost his headgear somewhere along the line, Mark McLinden.
Probably around about the 40-foot mark, I think, John.
it'll drop down in a moment.
Well, you can just see a little bit of desperation coming up from the Canberra team now. They know that they can't afford. They've got just over, or just under 10 minutes of play remaining. You'll see the big men start to play in here, but imperative that the North Queensland team don't come up with any simple errors.
McLinden getting his pass to Daly. Daly on the inside to Kennedy. Ben Kennedy almost getting through. Caught and put to ground by Doyle. This is the last tackle. McLinden again with the high ball.
Off Canberra.
Came off Canberra, dived on by Glenn Murphy. North Queensland ball, 15 from their own line. Nandruku looked to throw his pass on the inside. No one was there to take it, so he had to go himself. Look on Tim Sheen's face. Never changes, I don't think, whether he's in front or behind.
We haven't got a heart monitor there measuring the rate. I think it'll jump a few beats at the moment.
4 tackles gone in this set for the Cowboys. Back to Murphy. Hard run by Glenn Murphy. Push back, though, in the tackle of McNamara. Kennedy coming in to help. Now on the last, as Canberra drop back a fullback. Kick across field, in behind David Boyle. Chasing down as Kyle Warren for it. Neither player can get it before it goes into touch. So Canberra will work a scrum, just 12 from their own line. It's North Queensland by 2, 14-12. Just over 7 minutes remaining.
There's some tired Canberra players walking over to the scrum, but at the moment they really can't have any respect for their personal feeling. They've got to sprint to get to the scrums, make sure that they save as much time as they possibly can. They're going to need every little bit of it.
A push against the feed. Who's got it? McLinden has it for Canberra. So a Raiders ball. Ruben Wiki giving it away to Laurie Daly, and Daly did well just with quick hands on the outside to McNamara. Brandon Pearson to play it. Again up the short side to Bradley Clyde. Ray Mercy, the tackler on Clyde. Again, they work the blind side as they have so much tonight, Canberra. Jason Croker this time to Daly. The skipper has to lead from the front. Back into centre field. Thurner can't get it. McLinden picks it up, but a knock on. Laurie Daly pleading with the referee that it hadn't been a knock on.
Ooh.
And I think he's right.
A fair case.
I think he's got a very fair case.
Is it the optometrist coming up?
Hold it steady, 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 steady. Hold that weight there, still.
But a North Queensland scrum feed, fed by Prince, won by them, given away to Chris Tassel. Tassel almost through. He was caught in a desperation tackle by Brett Hetherington. He just got to his ankle and put him to ground. Had he not done so, he was under the post, Chris Tassel. Now to Prince. Prince turning his pass back on the inside. They're 11 metres out from the line where it's played. Again to Prince. Prince giving his pass out to Paul Bowman. Bowman slung to ground, 10 short. Penalty Canberra, not getting to his feet to play the ball.
Well, gee, I tell you what, I think he's been hard done by there. It really looked like Bowman had a hard time actually keeping his balance. It did appear as though one of the Canberra players was holding him down.
I wonder if
the left shoulder.
I wonder if that knock-on was in the back of his mind.
I think it could have been.
Just even up the ledge, you reckon, Peter Mulholland?
Coaches think that at any rate.
Well, there's a sign that's just come up on the flashboard here that didn't exactly give complimentary remarks to the referee. But no matter what the crowd think here or the man posting it, we've got a thriller here in the last couple of minutes. Canberra desperate to be able to get up here and keep their unbeaten record against the Cowboys.
Yes, Tim Sheens, he's never won against his old club, Canberra. He's in front at the moment by 2 as the kick will be fielded by Kyle Warren. Warren brings it outside his own 30.
I thought that was not real good common sense, that one. They weren't at the end of the tackle count. Kicking off the left foot in the centre, but it appeared nobody had any idea that was going to come about.
Chris Tassel. Another hard run by the winger. Just over 4 minutes remaining. North Queensland lead the Raiders by 2 here in Townsville. To John Lomax. Lomax able to give a short pass to Martin Locke.
We've also got to start thinking about running one-on-one defence here. The possibility of being able to strip the ball carrier.
Last coming up for the Cowboys. Back to Scott Prince. Prince will put up the high kick. McLinden waits for it. Not under any pressure mark, McLinden. Took it well.
That's one.
Medden put to ground by the first of the chasers. That was Owen Cunningham. So time running out for the Raiders. And they're deep inside their own territory as Jason Croker plays the ball.
I think they're out of gas too.
He is.
Yeah,
I was going to say exactly the same thing, Peter. You looked at Luke DeVico. He could hardly get out of a walk as he took that ball up.
Yeah, I think the ball had a note on it. Here, do something, and they were just throwing it across.
To Furner, then to Daly. Daly shuffles his pass to Bradley Clyde. Clyde turns it back to Daly. Can the skipper pull something out of the fire? Noah Nandruku makes the tackle. Here's the last coming up for the Raiders. The kick to be put in by McLinden. Driving it up to Josh Hannay. Hannay takes it just out from his own 20.
Yeah, they've got to come up with 2 sorts of kicks there. Ones that are going to pin them as deep as they possibly can in the North Queensland territory, or one that are going to give them a 50-50 chance of regaining possession. That one was just a simple turnover.
They're out on their feet at the moment, Canberra, let me tell you. And they trail by 2. North Queensland 14-12. Just over 2 minutes remaining, and the crowd trying to spur the Cowboys on to keep their undefeated record intact and make it 4 from 4. Ray Mercy to play it. Away through Prince and then to Lomax. Lomax dragged to ground eventually. Here's the last. Jason Deeth. Deeth uses the kick, not the best of ones. Butted back by Noah Nandruku. It's still on 5. Away once more to Deeth. He gets it away to Prince. They're still on the last. Can't unload a changeover. This could be the last chance for Canberra to drag this game out of the fire, but Luke DeVico is just out on his feet, and he was called on to play it. This will be a penalty.
That is the ball game.
They'll kick for goal and use up time.
Called it.
Stephen Clark, who I don't think will mind putting out his hand to get his money for tonight. He's had a tough one. No, they're not going to take the kick for goal. I thought they would have. Dale Shearer says he'll kick for line. Yeah, well, that's sanity. They had to kick the goal because by the time they do, it's full time.
No, take a look on Dale Shearer's face. He's done very well there. He went to take the kick for the touchline. The captain called on him to stop. He went to kick the ball again. All he did there was burn up an extra 30 seconds of time off the clock.
And he passed it. Right. That's it there.
But they will kick the goal, and inside the last minute, this will take North Queensland to victory, and they will have 4 from 4, and it will mean that Canberra have only 1 from 4. Josh Hannay to line the kick up. Well, I guess last week they themselves played a man down North Queensland and won. Tonight the opposition have had a man down, and it's played into the hands of the Cowboys, who come from behind to take the lead. As the crowd count down the last 5 seconds, Hannay's kick. Waved away, but it doesn't matter.